Good morning and welcome all to Mobile Device Manager Plus training. Before I can proceed, I would like to know whether you are able to hear my voice as well as view the presentation. Please confirm by commenting the same on chat. Thank you for your confirmation. Now let me kick off. This training program spans 2 weeks with the objective of facilitating better understanding of all the features that MDM has on offer. The previous training session covered device enrollment and provisioning. Here, we learned how to enroll a device either in bulk or on a device-to-device basis across multiple platforms. We also learned how to provision corporate data access to the devices. We also learned how about asset management. I hope the session was engaging and useful. We were able to gauge that from the amount of questions and comments that you had posted. Today, we'll be covering app management and device security. Just in case, if you have missed the previous training session, you can view the same in the link specified here. Let me introduce myself. I'm Achyutan, MDM Product Specialist, and I'm happy to be your trainer for today. As said before, this week we'll be covering app management and device security. So what is app management? It involves installation, deletion, update, and license management of apps. And what is device security? It involves steps taken to secure the corporate data present on the device as well as securing the device in general. This is the agenda for the exciting training session ahead. Firstly, we'll have an overview of Mobile Device Manager Plus for those who are unfamiliar with how the product works. I'll be using problem-solution approach throughout the session whereby I take a few common cases that I've encountered in support. The first such case will be installing and managing business apps. Here, we'll see how MDM eases app deployment. The second case will be locking down devices to specific apps. Organizations are using mobile devices for automating most of the simple tasks. Thus, single-purpose devices are finding an extended level of usage in organizations. We'll see how MDM helps us with this. Lastly, we'll be seeing securing data and devices. Having granted access to corporate data and then install apps that work on corporate data, it's only logical that you want to secure the data as well as the device in general. We'll look at the options that MDM provides to do the same. This will be followed by a quick look at a few scenarios and their solutions. We'll end this session with the questions that have been posed by the customers. In case, during the session, if you have got any queries, please don't hesitate to post it on chat. We've got an expert panel waiting here, ready to answer your questions. Mobile Device Manager Plus can be used for managing mobile phones and tablets running on iOS, Android, and Windows platforms. It is available as an add-on to ManageEngine Desktop Central, an offering from ManageEngine for managing desktops, servers, and legacy systems. In this case, you will be using the same application for managing both computers as well as mobile devices. In case you want to manage only mobile phones, we have got two options. The first is having an on-premises version installed. In case you're worried about the initial setup, you can prefer MDM Cloud. Let us understand the high-level architecture of MDM Plus. This will provide you with a holistic view of how the product actually works. It consists of three main components, namely the server, the notification services, and the devices to be managed. The notification services are platform-specific with Apple Push Notification Service or APNS for iOS, Google Cloud Messaging Service or GCM for Android, and Windows Notification Service or WNS for Windows devices. As you can see here, the server doesn't directly contact the device. Instead, it communicates with the notification service, which in turn wakes up the device, after which the device directly interacts with the server. Since the devices to be managed are mobile and are always on the move, we recommend you to NAT your internal IP address with an external IP address. This will expose the server to the external networks. In case you're worried about security, you can optionally configure a forwarding server. Configuring a forwarding server ensures that it is the one that is exposed to the outside networks, thereby safeguarding the server and the data within. Additionally, you can also configure Active Directory for authentication purposes. In case you're using MDM Cloud, you need not be worried about any of these. The aforesaid communications require some ports. Ports are the basic communication medium between the server and the devices. The device to MDM plus server communication uses the port 9383 for secure HTTP communication. In case of the server to notification services communication, 2195 is used in case of APNS and 443 is used in case of GCM and WNS. The device to notification services uses these following ports. These ports are to be opened only if your server is behind a firewall. So how does MDM actually manage devices? In case of iOS and Windows, it leverages the native MDM client that is present on the device for management. In case of Android devices, you need to install the any MDM app on the device to manage it. The first case will be installing and managing business apps. We are living in a fully mobile world where most of the corporate work is carried out on mobiles using apps. Installing and constantly updating these apps is the responsibility of an IT administrator. In case of large organizations, this is a cumbersome task, especially if dealing with commercial apps. Now let us see how MDM eases this pain of an IT administrator. This is how app management works in MDM. It is as simple as adding an app to the MDM server, distributing an app through MDM, and having it installed on the device. Firstly, you will build an app repository by adding store apps as well as enterprise apps. Store apps are those apps available for public download on the internet, whereas enterprise apps are those in-house apps specific to your organization. Once you have distributed the app, the installation is carried out through MDM server in case of enterprise apps, and in case of store apps, it is carried out to the respective stores. Now let us see how to install an app using MDM. I'll be installing Soho CRM on an iOS device. So log into your MDM server and click on Device Management from the top menu. And then select App Repository from the left pane. As explained before, App Repository contains all those apps which you wish to distribute to the devices. So how do we actually add an app to the App Repository? Simple. Click on Add App. As you can see here, you can add both store apps and enterprise apps across platforms. Since I'll be adding an iOS App Store app, I select the same. Now type the application name, Soho CRM. On typing the application name, the MDM server contacts the Apple App Store to fetch the relevant results. For this purpose, you will have to whitelist Apple App Store on your external firewall. Now on selecting the app, the bundle identifier as well as the Apple Store ID gets automatically prefetched. In case you're not based on the US and you would like to change your country, you can do so by clicking on the change region that is present at the far right. We have got two options under app policies. The first option, remove app on MDM profile removal, ensures that the app gets automatically uninstalled when the user revokes management. The second option, restrict backup for app data, ensures that there is no backup of the app data present anywhere except on the device. This is ideally useful if your app is going to deal with confidential corporate data. Additionally, you can also pre-configure the settings on the app. This can be done by adding a configurations XML file. This file gets distributed along with the app and ensures that the app is ready to use on installation. Now click on Save and click on OK. You can see that the app has been successfully added to the app repository. Now the next step is to distribute it to a device. To do that, click on Groups and Devices from the left pane. And then select the Devices tab. Here, choose the device to which you want to distribute and select Distribute Apps. Here, all the available apps are listed and select the app to which you want to distribute. You have got two options under distribution. The first, notify end user by email, ensures that the user gets informed every time a new app is available for installation. The second option, force install enterprise and BPP apps, We'll be looking at this later during this session. Now click on Select. As you can see, the app has been distributed to the selected device successfully. Now how do I, as an administrator, know that the app has been actually installed? Simple. Click on the device name and select the Apps tab. Here, all the apps that are distributed to this device is listed. The execution status present against the app lets you know whether the app has been installed or not. If the execution status says yet to apply, it means that the app installation is yet to be initiated and the user needs to install the app from App Catalog. In case the execution status says success, it means that the app has been installed on the device. Now let us see what happens on the device. You need to open the MeMDM app present on the device and select App Catalog. Here, all the apps that are to be installed on this device is listed under the Yet to Install tab. Click on the Install button that is present against the app. As you know, all App Store apps require iTunes account for validation. Provide your iTunes account and click on OK. On successful validation, the app installation gets initiated and the status changes to installing. It is to be noted that all the changes that are done here get subsequently reflected in the server as well. Once the installation is done, the apps move from the Yet to Install tab to the Installed tab. Now what if I need to install this app to all the devices in my organization? As seen just now, in manual installation, every device must be first provisioned with an iTunes account to even initiate app installation. The second step is that though the administrator distributes the app, it still requires some amount of manual intervention from the user to complete the installation. Which brings us to this question as to whether MDM allows automating app installation. The answer is yes. MDM does allow you to automate app installation. In case of iOS devices, you can automate using Volume Purchase Program or VPP. VPP is a program provisioned by Apple for bulk purchase of business apps. In case of Android devices, you can use Play for Work. Play for Work is a program similar to VPP provisioned by Google for Android devices. We'll be looking at each of them in detail. First, we'll be looking at Apple Volume Purchase Program or VPP. Before we start off, there are certain prerequisites for VPP. First, you need to create an account with Apple VPP. This account is used for approving apps that are to be installed on the device. The second requirement is that the devices must be supervised. Supervision provides the administrator with additional control. Supervision can be done on iOS devices using Apple Configurator as well as DEP as seen in the previous training session. Now this is how VPP actually works in MDM. Firstly, you integrate VPP with MDM server. This can be done by adding your VPP account to MDM server. The second step is to approve apps on the VPP portal. Then you distribute the apps to the devices where it gets installed silently. Now let us see how this is to be done on MDM. Firstly, log into Apple VPP. Here you can purchase apps either for education or for business. I'll be purchasing it for business. And then from your account, click on the account name and select Account Summary from the drop-down. And click on the link Download Token. This downloads a VPP token which is to be uploaded onto the MDM server. I'll be doing just that. Now click on Device Management. Just a moment. And select App Repository. And click on iOS VPP Distribution. Click on Configure Now and click on the upload link present in step 4. And now upload the downloaded VPP token and ensure that the app installation type is selected as without Apple ID. This is mandatory for installing apps on iOS devices without the user having to enter his Apple ID. The token that you have uploaded expires in 1 year, after which you'll have to renew it and put it back on MDM server. To be notified regarding the expiry, you will have to provide your email for the same. I'll be doing just that. Once this is done, the token gets uploaded successfully and all the apps that have been purchased using this account gets added. Now let us see how to actually purchase an app using VPP and have it installed silently on devices. Now go back to Apple VPP and in the search bar type the application name. I'll be using Zoho CRM again. Once done, click on the search button. From the given results, select Zoho CRM. It redirects you to the app page. The first section contains the purchase details. Here, you need to specify the quantity. Quantity here refers to the number of devices to which you want to distribute this app to. It is referred to as licenses here. The advantage with this is that you retain complete ownership of apps, letting you to revoke and reassign them on need basis. In case an employee is quitting your organization, you can revoke his license and assign it to another employee. Before you can specify the quantity, ensure that the app is listed as device assignable. The reason, I'll let you know later. Once you have verified that, specify the quantity and click on Review Order, and then place your order. Once that is done, your order is complete. All the apps that are purchased using the VPP account gets added automatically on a daily basis using a scheduler. In case you want to add it instantly, you need to go to the MDM server and click on App Repository. Just a moment. And click on Sync Apps and select Sync VPP Apps from the drop-down. As you can see, all the apps that have been purchased till now is being synced here. Once the apps are synced, they are added to the app repository. Now go to the purchased app, Zoho CRM, and you can see the license details here. I have purchased 200 licenses and I've already distributed one to a device. Thus, the unused licenses is 199. This is highly useful for license management. Now let us see what happens on the device end. As you can see, the user need not do anything and the app installation gets initiated automatically. The user was not asked to provide his Apple ID because we have selected without Apple ID for the installation type. The app installation gets completed successfully without any user intervention. So what other advantage has VPP got other than silent installation? The main advantage is that, with regards to app updates, the first advantage is that you can control app updates. You might be wondering as to how you can control app updates that is present on the device. Simple. This is where the device assignable part comes into play. Apps that are listed as device assignable ensures that the app gets assigned to the device and not to the usual assignment of the Apple account. Once this is done, the App Store is not notified about any updates that are present for this app. So if the Apple App Store is not notified, there is zero chance that the user will know. This will bring another question. So I cannot update apps at all? No. The responsibility is still left with the IT administrator. He can post critical updates and ensure that he need not wait for the user to manually install critical updates. I'll tell you how to update an app using MDM. Now go back to the MDM server and click on Groups and Devices. And select the Devices tab. And select a device. And go to Apps. Here, under Action that is present against the app, you will be shown a gear icon. This means that an update is available for the app. Now click on the link and ensure that the distribution option Force Install is selected. This ensures that the app is updated silently on the device. Now let us see how this can be achieved for Android devices. For Android devices, you will be using Google Play for Work. There are certain prerequisites for Play for Work. Just like VPP, you need to create an account with Google Play for Work. This account will be used for approving apps that are to be installed on the device. The second condition is that the devices must be running Android 5.0 or later versions. Now let us see how AFW is to be configured on the MDM server. Now go back to Admin tab and select Configure AFW. I have already configured AFW in this server, so I'll be taking another one. Now click on Admin tab, just one moment, and select Configure AFW. You're provided with two options for configuring AFW. You can choose to register using G Suite or without G Suite. G Suite is a set of cloud-based productivity apps provided by Google. I'll be registering without G Suite using my Google account. Now click on this and select Configure Now. You will be redirected back to Google Play for Work. Here, sign in with your Google account and then click on Get Started. Provide your organization name and ensure that the EMM provider is listed as ManageEngine EMM. And then click on Confirm and then select Complete Registration to configure the setup of AFW on MDM server. Once the setup is done, this summary page is shown which contains the domain name and other such details. Now I'll show how to purchase an app in Play for Work. Log in to play.google.com/work using the same Google account that you used to set up Android for Work. In the search bar, type in application name. I'll be using Zoho CRM here as well, and then click on the search button. Now from the available results, select Zoho CRM and then click on Approve. On clicking that, you are shown the list of permissions that the app requires. Now clicking on Approve again means you have completely approved and purchased this app. Unlike VPP, in case of Android for Work, you need to purchase a free app only once and then you can distribute it to a number of devices. Once you have approved, the app gets automatically added to the MDM server on a daily basis using Scheduler. In case you want to add it immediately, you can do so as explained here. Now go back to Device Management and select App Repository and select Sync Apps and select Sync Play Store Apps. Now as you can see, the apps that have been purchased are being synced. The apps are now added. Now click on the app name Zoho CRM. As you can see, there's a Permissions tab. Click on it. You can see that all the permissions that was required by the app is listed here. Now click on the Modify button. As you can probably understand, it lets you modify the permissions that are required by the app. In this case, I'll be allowing permission for the phone and for location. For the other three, I'll be denying permissions. This ensures that the user is not asked for the permissions on the device. Now click on Save. Now the app permissions has been configured. Now let us see how to distribute that. You will be using the same process that was done for iOS devices. Now let us see what happens on the device. As you can see, there is no user intervention required at all. Even if Play Store is not configured, the installation gets initiated. And then the installation is complete. Once the installation is complete, open the app and select App Permissions. As you can see here, all the app permissions that you had modified on the server, it's reflected on the device as well. So what are the other benefits of configuring VPP or Play for Work? The first advantage is that you can build your own app repository containing only those managed apps. These apps can be store apps as well as in-house apps. This ensures that the corporate data that is present on the device can be accessed only by IT-approved apps. The second advantage is that you can restrict users from installing any other apps that is present on the store. This ensures that untrusted apps do not get access to the corporate data. Now what if I also have in-house apps? Do I need a VPP or Play for Work account in that case for silent installation? The answer is no. Though VPP and Play for Work both support silent enterprise app installation, in case you want to only distribute in-house apps, the MDM app repository is enough. However, there are certain prerequisites in this case as well. The first prerequisite is that the devices must be supervised in case of iOS. The second, in case of Android, the devices must be either Samsung devices or must be provisioned as device owner. Device owner is the Android equivalent of supervision. Now let us see how to add an enterprise app to the MDM app repository. So I go back to the server and click on App Repository. And then I click on Add App and select Android Enterprise App. Now provide your APK source file. On doing that, the bundle identifier and the app version gets automatically pre-filled. Now provide the app name, Delivery. And then you're asked to select the category as well as the supported devices. You can optionally provide description as well as display an image. You might be worried as to how these apps can be actually updated. You can do that by adding the updated APK file here. Let me show you that. Now I'm updating the app. As you can see here, the app version has been changed to 2.0. Now click on Save and click on OK to add the enterprise app to the app repository. The distribution to the apps is similar to VPP. This brings us to the end of the first scenario. We started off with manual installation of store apps, which was then followed by silent installation of apps on both iOS as well as Android devices. We also learned how to silently install enterprise apps. In case you have got any queries, please don't hesitate to post it on chat. The second case that we are going to deal is locking devices to specific apps. As already explained, single-purpose devices such as POS devices are finding a whole new level of usage in an organization. Additionally, in case your organization provides corporate devices to temporary employees, you will want not only the devices to be locked to specific apps, you'll also want to ensure that the device settings is configured and cannot be changed by the user. This is possible using Kiosk. Kiosk lets you provision either a single app or multiple apps to the devices. Additionally, it also lets you configure device settings and ensure that the user cannot modify them. Assume my organization has a logistics wing whereby a supervisor who's present on the office makes note of all the logistics bookings on one app. This is then shared to the drivers who are on road using another app. The driver picks these bookings based on its location and navigates based on the booking using a third app. Let us see how Kiosk helps us in this case. I'll go back to Server and click on Profiles. Here, all the profiles that have been previously created are listed. Now I'll be creating an Android profile. Click on Create Profile and select Android Profile. Provide a meaningful name, say Kiosk, and click on Continue. All the policies that are available for this device is listed here. Now click on Kiosk. Firstly, I'll be configuring Kiosk for the supervisor. Since the supervisor requires only one app, the Kiosk mode will be listed as single app. The app that is to be allowed is Zoho Forms. As you can see here, you can configure the settings as well. I'm going to leave them as such. In case you want to configure it for the driver, he'll require two apps. So the Kiosk mode will be changed to multiple apps. And the apps to be allowed are Z Delivery and Google Maps. The advantage with Kiosk is that you can also provision built-in apps as Kiosk. You can optionally choose wallpaper as well as let them know whether MDM app is to be displayed on the device. I'm going to leave it as such. I've already created these profiles which I'll distribute to the devices. To do that, go to Groups and Devices and select the Devices tab. And click on the device name and select Associate Profile. And select the profile, which in this case is Kiosk Supervisor, and click on Select. The kiosk gets associated with the device successfully. You can do the same for the drivers as well. Now let us see what happens on the driver's device. In case of supervisor's device, the app gets locked to Zoho Forms and the supervisor cannot navigate out of it. In case of driver's device, it is similar except that he can navigate between the apps that are provisioned under Kiosk, the Z Delivery as well as Google Maps. Staying with the same case, what if I need to know all the locations that have been traversed by the driver over a period of time? As you may know, the geo-tracking lets you know the current location of the device instantaneously. But what if I need to know the set of previous locations that has been traversed by the device? MDM has just got the right answer for you. You can use location history. I'll show you how to set up location history on MDM server. Go back to the server and click on the admin tab. and select Geo-tracking. This page lets you configure geo-tracking. You can either choose to track devices always or track them only when lost. I'll be tracking them forever. And additionally, you can also apply geo-tracking for all devices or devices from selected groups. I'll be applying geo-tracking for all the devices. And now enable location history. You will be asked another option, save location history on moving. This is for the MDM server to record the location that is moved by the device. In case you want to configure even the minor movements and have it recorded, you can choose 100 meters. In case you have got a long distance cab service, you can use 500 meters or 1 kilometer based on your need. Now click on Save Changes. The geo-tracking settings has been configured successfully. Now let us see how this is done on the device. I'll go to Inventory and select the device name and go to the Geo-tracking tab. As you can see, you can use geo-tracking in both the default Zoho map or Google map as well. Now I'll be clicking on the location history link. As you can see here, it provides the location details from June 3rd to June 8th. Now if I want to know the locations traversed by the device on June 3rd, I can simply click on that. All the locations that has been traversed by the device is listed here along with the coordinates as well as the time. In case I want to view the location history for a specific period, you can do so using this one. Click on here, and for show history from, you can select a date, and similarly for history till, you can select another date and see the location details. The other advantage is that MDM lets you export these location details as a CSV file. Now what if there is an issue on the kiosk device and you, the IT administrator, need to fix it? This question becomes much more relevant when you realize that the device user is a driver and may not be well versed with technology. Additionally, he may be on road and you cannot go and fix it. So how do you actually troubleshoot these issues? Using Android remote control. Remote control lets you not only view the screen but control the screen as well. We'll see how this is done using MDM server. So go back to the server and under Actions, click on Remote Control and select Yes. This is to show that the user has to select Allow to initiate the remote session. You can see that a new window gets opened. This is for easier navigation of the device screen. We are using Zoho Assist as the backend for establishing the remote session. It takes some time to establish the remote session because of establishing gateway. The driver may be in a different location and it will have poor internet connection as well. Selecting the proper gateway ensures that the video quality is good and the streaming is seamless. Firstly, I need to remove this device out of kiosk. To do that, I click on the MDM app and tap the top bar 4 times, 1, 2, 3, and 4. Now when prompted for the revoke administration password, I provide the same. And click on OK. It is taking some time. On clicking OK, you can see that the device has actually been revoked device administration and is temporarily out of kiosk. Now, I need to find what is the problem with the Z-Delivery app. To do so, I will need the Z-Delivery app logs, which is present on the File Manager. To go to File Manager, I first go to the main home screen. And then I click on the other button. There is some trouble with the remote control session, but this is how you establish it. Once you're done with that, click on Close to terminate the session. Here, the second case has come to an end. We learned how to provision devices in kiosk and also learned about location history as well as Android remote control. The third case that we'll be seeing at is securing corporate data. The difference between a personal device and a corporate device is fast blurring with the same device used for both the purpose. In such a scenario, chances of the personal apps accessing corporate data is high. As an IT administrator, you would want the corporate data to be secure and prevent such data breaches. There are two kinds of data breach. The first is within the device, whereby the data movement from trusted corporate apps to untrusted personal apps takes place. The second is between the devices, whereby you copy the data that is present on a device and move it to another using either USB, Bluetooth, or AirDrop. The first step towards achieving corporate data security is containerization. As you know, containerization isolates the corporate space and the personal space. The corporate space contains all the corporate data and the corporate apps. In case of Android devices, when a work profile is created, a logical container gets created as well. This logical container contains all those work apps that has been distributed through MDM. You can identify these work apps through the suitcase icon present next to the app. In case of iOS, there is no such logical container that gets created. Here, the personal apps as well as the corporate apps coexist, which may lead to a lot of problems. I'll show you one of them. As you can see, this is a corporate email with a corporate attachment. When I click on to view the attachment, there are two options that are shown. I can share it to another device using AirDrop, or I can open it with either personal apps or corporate apps. I would want only corporate apps to get access to the corporate attachments. This can be achieved using containerization. So let us see how MDM lets you achieve containerization using restrictions. So go back to the server and click on Device Management and select Profiles and select Create Profile and select iOS. Provide a name, Container, and click on Continue and select Restrictions from the available policies. The first thing to restrict is the screen capture, because it is one of the most convenient methods of data sharing when the conventional methods are restricted. The second is to restrict AirDrop. Now that the basic security is done, let us see and explore advanced options. It is recommended that you restrict shared data from managed apps to unmanaged apps. Also, it is better to always restrict sharing data from unmanaged apps to managed apps as well. Additionally, we need to restrict USB as well as Bluetooth. To do that, go to Advanced Security and for Allow USB Connections, click on No. To restrict Bluetooth, click on Network and Roaming and restrict Modifying Bluetooth. This will ensure that the Bluetooth is never switched on ever on the device again. Now click on Save and publish this profile. Distributing this profile to an iOS device creates a container on the iOS device. Now let us see how the same case works after containerization. As you can see, no AirDrop or no personal apps. Instead, only the corporate apps that have been distributed using MDM is present here. So how many of you have actually wondered whether the third-party apps are actually secure and whether the corporate data that it accesses is safe? In case you're worried about that, you can use MDM's in-app document viewer. To access document viewer, open MDM app and select the Documents tab. Here, all the email attachments are stored and can be viewed. The advantage is that there is no backup of this data stored anywhere else on the device. Additionally, this is the sole storage for all the email attachments, ensuring complete corporate data security. So what if you also want to ensure that only managed devices can get access to corporate emails? This question becomes much more relevant when you realize that once the employee knows his corporate credentials, he can use it on any device to access corporate exchange email. These devices need not be enrolled with MDM and thus may not be secure. Though MDM cannot control those devices that are not enrolled with it, it can, however, restrict access to exchange using conditional exchange access. This is how conditional exchange access works in MDM. Firstly, you integrate Exchange with MDM server by adding your Exchange account. Then you enforce conditional exchange access policy. Once that is done, only devices that are enrolled with MDM get access to Exchange. Now let us see how this is done on the server. Go to Device Management and select Conditional Exchange Access. You can configure both Exchange Online as well as Exchange On-premises. I'll be configuring Exchange Online. On selecting Exchange Online, the server name gets automatically pre-filled. Provide the username and password. On clicking Next, the MDM server syncs with the Exchange server to provide device details of those that are accessing Exchange. As you can see, there are 11 devices that are not enrolled with MDM but are accessing Exchange. These are the target devices which we want to restrict. To do that, click on Configure Now. You can choose to restrict either all devices that are not enrolled with MDM, and in case of exceptions, you can choose specific devices. I'll be restricting all devices. Additionally, you can also allow users some buffer time for them to enroll their devices with MDM. During this period, the users can continue to access Exchange as normal. In case they do not enroll, once the buffer time is finished, then they will be revoked access. This is called as grace period. I'll be allowing 3 days of grace period, and then I apply policy. Now let us see on the server as to what happens after applying the policy. Click on Conditional Exchange Access. As you can see, there are 7 devices in grace period. These are the devices that can continue to access Exchange. Once the grace period is over, these devices will be restricted access to Exchange and will move to restricted devices. To know the list of devices in grace period, you can click on the number. And in case of restricted devices, these are those devices whose access to Exchange has been completely restricted. To know the list of devices, click on the number again. Once the devices get enrolled with MDM, they will be moved on to allowed devices. In case of new devices, there is no grace period at all and the devices are by default restricted. So how do these restricted devices gain access back to the Exchange? To do that, click on Steps to regain access. As you can see, you need to first enable self-enrollment and share the self-enrollment URL with the customers. Once they enroll their device, they can get back their access to Exchange. Here, we saw how to secure corporate data. In case you have got any queries, please don't hesitate to post it on chat. Having configured security purposes for corporate data, you would also want to secure devices. Why? Because these devices are handy in size and are always on the move. In such a case, chances of the device getting lost is very high. Let us see the options that MDM provides in order to secure the devices. Now go back to the MDM server and click on Inventory and select the device name. Assuming the device has been misplaced, firstly, I would like to remote lock the device and ensure that no one can access it. You can see that the remote command is getting executed. Once this is done, I would like to locate the device as well. To do that, click on Locate the device. As you can see, it is fetching the geographical location of the device. Once this is located, you can have an approximate idea about where the device is. In case it is within your vicinity, you can identify the exact location by clicking on Remote Alarm and select Yes and provide your admin credentials. Once this is done, a sound is played from the device using which you can locate where the device is. In case you have not found the device, it means that the device is lost and you should do your utmost to prevent unauthorized data access. To do that, enable Loss Mode. Loss Mode is a set of security commands that are executed on lost devices to maintain data security. So let us assume that the device has been lost and is with someone who is willing to return the device. But how can you actually return the device? Because you have locked the device. There is no chance of the person knowing who the owner is. To facilitate that, you can optionally provide a contact number on the lock screen. This gets displayed along with an optional message. The advantage here is that the lock screen also has a call functionality, on clicking which you will be called to this number. Now click on Next. Just in case, if the person having the device knows your passcode, he can still access the device using the passcode despite it being locked remotely. To nullify this, you can provide a new passcode. This new passcode is sent to the device user as well. In case a formal complaint has been raised to the system administrator, you will have to audit it. To do that, you can provide the ticket ID for the complaint as well as an optional message. Now I click on Locate. As you can see that the loss mode has been initiated and the device is marked as lost. In case you have found the device, you can choose to modify the loss mode by navigating down and clicking on Stop Loss Mode. And here you will provide the reason. Let me say I have found the device. I can say device has been found. In case you have not been able to find the device, it means you'll have to at worst protect the data that is present on the device. You can choose to corporate wipe the device in case the device is a BYOD. This ensures that all the corporate data, apps, and the associated configuration gets removed completely from the device, and the device gets revoked MDM management as well. In case it is a fully corporate-owned device, you can choose to erase the complete data that is present on the device. You can either wipe the entire data present on the device, or you can choose to wipe the entire data present on the device or the SD card. This is how loss mode is shown on the device. As you can see, there's a headline stating that the device has been lost, and the contact number is displayed as well. Clicking on this button will call to this number. Now we'll be looking at scenarios and other solutions. In case you have got any queries with respect to the previously discussed scenarios, please don't hesitate to post it on chat. The first scenario is that, is there a way by which I can remove apps that are previously installed on the devices? These are the apps that have not been installed by MDM and have been installed previously on the device. Yes, there is an option to restrict these apps using MDM. So go back to the server and click on the Apps tab present in the left pane. Select the app you want to restrict. Let us say I want to restrict this app and select Mark as Blacklist. This removes the app from the device and ensures that the user cannot use this app from the device. The second scenario is that my organization has provided full internet access and has no restriction on any web resource. So how can I restrict specific websites without affecting the usual internet activity? Now let us assume you want to completely restrict YouTube from the device. You can optionally blacklist the YouTube app as shown in the previous scenario. But how do you actually restrict the user from going to YouTube through browser? You can do that using Web Content Filter. Go to Device Management and click on Profiles. And select Create Profile and select Android Profile. Now click on Web Content Filter and click on Continue. And select Web Content Filter from the list of policies available. You can either choose to automatically restrict malicious content or choose to whitelist a list of websites. This means that all other websites are automatically blacklisted. In case you want to blacklist a specific website, you can choose this option. I'm going to restrict YouTube. So I provide the HTTP URL, http:/youtube.com, and click on Save and publish the profile. Now when this profile gets distributed to the device, the user cannot access YouTube from the web browser. The third scenario is that my workforce is extensively mobile only and we want to secure the devices using certificates. Can this be done using Mobile Device Manager Plus? Yes, you can certainly distribute certificates to the devices using MDM. I'll show you how that is done. Go to Profiles and click on Create Profile and select Android. Provide the profile name and click on Continue and select the certificate policy. You can choose to either add certificate or select the previously added certificates as well. I'll be selecting a previously added certificate. On selecting the certificate, the entire details of the certificate is shown as seen here. Now click on Save and then publish the profile. Now for the fourth scenario. My enterprise network bandwidth is affected when several employees try to update their OS simultaneously. How can I prevent this in case of Android devices? In addition to network bandwidth, you may be using enterprise apps that may not work in the newest version of the OS. So to prevent OS upgrades on Android devices, go back again to Profiles and create an Android profile. Provide a name and click on Continue. And go to Restrictions. From the device functionality, restrict OS upgrade. This ensures that the device cannot upgrade the OS. Click on Publish. The last scenario that we're looking at is, I want to ensure that all the network communication taking place on the device is routed through a secure proxy. Can this be done? Yes, most certainly you can do that. I'll show you how this is done. Again, you'll have to create a profile. Click on Create Profile and select Android. Provide a name. I'll be using Proxy and click on Continue. Now go to Global HTTP Proxy. Here, you can configure the proxy settings. In case you want to manually enter the server and port details, you can choose Manual. I'll be going with an automatic proxy. Now provide the proxy URL. I'll be providing just that. And click on Save. And publish the profile. This ensures that all the network communication that is done on the device goes through the provided proxy. Now we'll go to the questions that has been asked by you people. The first question is that one of our employees has forgotten his device passcode and now is unable to use the device. Can MDM help me with this? Yes, MDM does allow you to reset passcode as well as clear passcode. I'll be showing how to do that. Now go to Inventory and select the device. And from the Actions drop-down present, click on Clear Passcode. This ensures that the passcode present on the device gets cleared. You will have to, however, provide your admin credentials. As you can see, the Clear Passcode command is being executed. The second question is, we are a logistics company and we provide devices to our drivers for tracking purposes. Is there a way by which the users cannot disable the location service and it is always enabled? You can do this again using restrictions. I'll show you how this is done. Go back to Device Management and select Profiles. Create an Android profile. Provide a name, location, and click on Continue. And click on the Restrictions and go to Location Services and make this as always on. Additionally, you can also restrict mock location as well as Google Maps. Click on Save and Publish. This ensures that the location service is forever enabled on the device. The third question is it possible to prevent copying text from emails? You can certainly do that by restricting clipboard share. Let us see how this is done. Again, a profile needs to be created. Now go to Restrictions. And you can see that you can actually restrict clipboard share. Restricting this ensures that the email content cannot be copied and pasted anywhere else. Now publish this profile. The fourth question is, I want to ensure that the IT-approved apps installed using MDM must not be removed by the user. Is it possible? You can most certainly restrict uninstallation of apps. To do that, I'll be taking you back to the MDM server. Create another profile, provide a name, and click on Continue. And go to Restrictions and click on Application. Here, restricting uninstallation of apps ensures that the apps present on the device cannot be uninstalled by the user. Save it and have it published as well. So last question that you have asked is, I want to ensure that the employee devices are connected only to those secure Wi-Fi networks that have been distributed via MDM. Can this be achieved? Most certainly. You can not only distribute Wi-Fi configurations through MDM, you can also ensure that devices connect only to these networks. To do that, go to MDM server and click on Create Profile. Provide a name and click on Continue. And go to Restrictions and click on Network and Roaming. Ensure that Connect to Wi-Fi only if distributed via MDM option is yes. This ensures that only those Wi-Fi networks that has been distributed through MDM can be connected to by the device. Save and publish the profile. Now this brings us to the end of the question session. If you like the presentation, rate us on a scale of 1 to 5, where 5 is the best. In case you found the session to be engaging and useful, spread a word across the social media platforms. The next training schedule will be on July 13th and 20th at the same time. I hope you found this session to be engaging and useful. Thank you for spending your valuable time in this session.